Welcome back to the System Read. Today we are opening the hood on the human machine. We're diving into Robert Greene's The Laws of Human Nature. I've been calling this book a firmware upgrade for the brain. It's a code book for deciphering the madness we see every day, from the toxic coworker to the chaos of political polarization.
Or, Marcus, it's a manual for the very thing it claims to protect us from: sophisticated manipulation. Greene talks about diving below the surface, but I have to wonder if he's just teaching us how to be better sharks in an already bloody ocean.
Haha, always the skeptic, Sarah. But look at the world. We are social animals driven by forces 5 million years in the making. Our brains are literally configured to process emotions in a way that language can't even touch. We think we're acting on free will, but we're actually pawns moved by primitive instincts, status, tribalism, and aggression. Greene is just giving us the map so we stop walking off cliffs.
A map or a set of shackles? He calls them laws. That's a heavy word. It implies that human behavior is as predictable as gravity. But what about context? What about trauma? What about the fact that a person's behavior on a dating app isn't their nature? It's a response to a predatory algorithm designed to keep them swiping. You can't reduce the soul to a series of recurring psychological patterns.
But you can. Patterns repeat because the hardware hasn't changed. Whether it's an Athenian assembly in 432 BC or a heated thread on social media today, the group effect is the same. Independent reasoning dies, and the desire to belong takes over. We see it in the way political polarization makes smart people act like lunatics because they're terrified of being outsiders to their tribe. Self-awareness is the only thing that breaks the loop.
Oh, right. Because reading a book on the law of irrationality suddenly makes you the inner Athena. It sounds like the ultimate superiority bias, thinking you're more rational than the common man. If everyone thinks they're the one holding the code book, isn't that just a recipe for more narcissism?
That's a fair pivot. Let's talk about narcissism. Greene argues we're all on the spectrum, from the functional narcissist, who uses their self-love to fuel their work, to the deep narcissist, who has no internal thermostat and needs constant validation to feel alive.
And look at what technology is doing to that thermostat. Influencer culture is essentially the law of narcissism on steroids. We've created a system where your sense of self-worth is tied to a digital ticker tape of likes and comments. It's a validation addiction. We're raising a generation of theatrical narcissists who treat their entire lives as a performance for public consumption.
Exactly. And that's why we need these laws now more than ever. Greene points out that technology hasn't rewired us. It's just provided a more efficient medium for our shadow sides to play out without repercussions. When you see someone getting canceled online, you're not seeing a quest for justice. You're seeing the law of conformity and the group effect in action. It's a modern witch hunt, a release of repressed aggression under the mask of moral superiority.
But Marcus, isn't it also a system of power? You're focusing on the nature of the mob, but I'm looking at the law of role-playing. Influencers and celebrities are masters of impression management. They project a saintly quality or a fake authenticity specifically to manipulate the empathy of their followers. Greene says to see through people's masks, but he also tells us how to wear them more effectively. That's the ethical cliff I can't get over.
It's a survival skill. In professional life, you have to act a part. If your pilot acted like a car salesman, you'd be terrified. Power lies in the middle range between the masculine and feminine, in playing against people's expectations to fascinate them. Greene is saying, don't be a slave to your persona. If you know you're wearing a mask, you're the one in control, not the mask.
Control. That word always comes back. Let's look at the law of compulsive behavior. Greene uses Howard Hughes as this warning of someone who couldn't stop micromanaging until he wasted his entire life. But I see that everywhere in workplace politics. Managers who think they're hyper-perfectionists are usually just terrified of losing control. They chew people up because they can't face the stranger within themselves.
That's the emotional blind spot. We judge everyone else for being Machiavellian but see ourselves as having the best intentions. We project our own dark desires onto others so we can judge them and feel morally pure. That's why we misunderstand our relationships before they even start. We're not relating to a person, we're relating to a self-object that we've fashioned to soothe our own ego.
And dating apps have made that projection permanent. You're swiping on a profile, a curated mask, and projecting your anima or animus onto a set of pixels. Then you meet them, and the elusive woman of perfection or the lovable rebel turns out to be a real human with real flaws, and you're instantly disappointed. We're losing the ability to actually see each other because we're so busy looking for a mirror.
Which is why Greene's analytic empathy is so radical. It's the ability to cut off your incessant interior monologue and listen so deeply that you register the other person's mood viscerally. It's like a muscle you have to exercise. In a world of digital silos, this is the only way to build a real reality group that focuses on work and goals rather than ego and infighting.
But can we really do that anymore? We're moving toward AI companions, entities literally designed to mirror us perfectly, to confirm our self-opinion without ever challenging us. If we stop having to deal with the resistance of real people, we'll become the most fragile, grandiose version of ourselves. We're creating a bubble of entitlement where we expect to be adored without ever having to earn it.
That is the ultimate danger. The law of grandiosity. A small taste of success makes us think we have the golden touch, and then we stop listening to reality. We see it in CEOs who expand their empires until they collapse under their own weight. They lose the maker's mindset, that practical, calm focus on the work itself. They start worshiping their own myth.
And Greene's advice for this is to be a method actor and adapt to your audience. Marcus, you're calling it a firmware upgrade, but it feels like a manual for becoming a sophisticated aggressor. Like John D. Rockefeller, who used his crusader narrative to justify crushing every rival he ever had. Greene says, awareness protects you. But isn't he just teaching the Rockefellers of the world how to hide their shadow even better?
No, because the shadow always leaks. Look at Richard Nixon. He tried to project this image of RN, the strong, masculine world leader, but his tapes revealed a man drowning in paranoia and bitterness. You can't fake it forever. The laws aren't just about strategy, they're about integration. If you don't confront your dark side, it will destroy you from within.
Maybe. But it's a cold way to live, Marcus. Seeing every interaction as an influence game. Confirming people's self-opinion just to lower their resistance. It feels like the death of genuine connection. If I'm mirroring you just to get a visceral rapport, am I even here? Or am I just another algorithm?
You're being more here, Sarah. Most people are sleepwalking. They're reacting to moods they don't understand and imitating trends because they're afraid to be alone. To have inner authority is to stop being a passive slave to human nature and start actively transforming it. It's about becoming a reality group of one.
A reality group of one. That's the most Greene sentence I've ever heard. It's so solitary. It's so law of covetousness, wanting what is elusive and distant because the reality of our shared, messy, flawed humanity is too boring for us.
But reality is anything but boring. It's the sublime. We are one species, all brothers and sisters, yet we spend our lives in tribal battles over differences that are mostly an illusion. We deny our mortality, but that law of death denial is what makes us so petty. If we actually realize that we and everyone we hate will be dead in a few decades, we'd have a sense of proportion that would make most of our conflicts seem like the madness they are.
The bullet in the side. Flannery O'Connor, using her illness to see what really matters. That's the part of the book that feels human. But the rest? The law of fickleness? The idea that your friends are just fatal friends waiting to envy and sabotage you the moment you succeed? That's a dark firmware upgrade, Marcus.
It's a realistic one. Greene isn't telling us how the world should be, he's telling us how it is. We envy the potter, the craftsman, and the writer. It's wired into us. If you ignore it, you're just a naive target. If you understand it, you can transmute envy into emulation and admire human greatness instead of wanting to tear it down.
Or you just become a strategic observer who treats people as phenomena, as neutral as comets or plants. That sounds like a very lonely mountain to stand on.
It's not lonely, it's clear. From the mountaintop, you can see the rising tide of history and the zeitgeist. You can see the generational myopia that makes us think our time is special when we're just repeating the same four-act play that Ibn Khaldun saw 700 years ago.
Act 4. The Crisis. Maybe you're right, Marcus. Maybe we are in a crisis of values where we don't know what to believe in anymore, so we give ourselves over to false purposes, to money, to attention, to the void of cynicism.
And the only way out is a higher sense of purpose, to discover what we are made for and do it with all the power we can muster. That is the ultimate law. Everything else is just a distraction.
A higher purpose. Or just a more efficient way to play the game. Greene ends on relentless rigor. I guess the question for the listeners is, do you want to be a master of the art of human nature? Or do you just want to find a way to be a decent human being in spite of it?
In Greene's world, Sarah, you can't be one without being the other. To be decent, you have to be dangerous. To have empathy, you have to have a sword in your hand.
Then I'll keep my eyes on the sword, Marcus. Because in a world of sophisticated aggressors, the mask you wear might be the only thing keeping you from being devoured.
And that's the system read. Don't be a pawn. Know the laws. Or ignore them at your own peril. We'll see you in the next act. Assuming it hasn't been canceled yet.
Don't bet on it.
Thank you for listening to this discussion on the System Read podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please hit the like button and subscribe to ensure you don't miss our upcoming deep dives.